Hello, welcome to Annoyed Gamer. Wow, what a week. What a press conference. What an amazing, fantastic press conference. All the information, all the points we could have hoped that Microsoft would hit, they did, said Kaz Hirai, president of Sony and PlayStation. Yes, indeed, I'm going to talk about the Xbox One, and I'm not going to be very kind to it, I'm afraid. But, you know, hey, that's what I do. Yes, indeed, I'm going to talk to you about Xbox One, or Xboner, or XBO, or whatever you want to call it. And let's just get the name out of the way, first of all. Yeah, it's right up there with the Wii U. I think everybody realizes that, you know, it's a kind of stupid, goofy-ass name, but we're all going to get over it. We're all going to forget about it, you know, just like we forgot about the Wii U, which probably does not bode well for Microsoft. I kid. Yes, personally, I would have preferred just Xbox or 720 or Durango or my personal favorite, as I said before, Brenda. I think that would be a great name for a console. Unfortunately, Microsoft went with the one box to rule them all. Yeah, Lord of the Rings reference. Okay, so let's talk about that first of all. This one box, this entertainment hub, this one box that's going to replace your Blu-ray player, your Xbox 360, and your cable box, and it's going to be this one box in your living room. Unfortunately, it's a one box that's not going to replace your cable box because you need to plug your cable box in if you want to watch TV. So it's the two boxes that rule them all, people, the two boxes. Well, actually not so much, because the Xbox One comes with a 500GB hard drive that has to handle 3 operating systems and installs for every game. That's right, an install for every game. Now, we don't know how big these installs are yet. They could be 4 gig. They could be 40 gig. They could be 50 gig. I mean, it's Blu-ray, multiple discs, who knows? So basically, you know, you could have anywhere between 20 games and 5, 10 games on your hard drive. But don't worry, you can swap the hard drive out. Oh, no, you can't. Sorry, you can't change the hard drive that's internal. But guess what? You can add external hard drives through the little ports that they come with the Xbox One. So, if you're a hardcore gamer, this is great. The one box to rule them all, actually the two box to rule them all, becomes the two box to rule them all with lots of little boxes around them. Let's talk about Kinect, because in the new Xbox One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Kinect's always on. Kinect's going to be listening to you. Kinect's going to recognize your voice. It's going to recognize your heartbeat. Kinect is HAL from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now, Microsoft will say, well, you know, it's Kinect and we're going to have these ultra-secure servers, and, you know, Xbox will be running this version of Windows OS, probably, and that's really unhackable. I just want to let that sink in. Yeah, this is my supposition. I don't really want an always-on web camera in my living room. I mean, I have one that's built into my laptop, but I can go, you know, I can just turn it off. I can turn it off and still play games and do whatever I want and fap, or whatever it is, and not have to worry about somebody hacking it because, you know, I know the antivirus is up to date and all these other things. Yeah, with Kinect, I am a little concerned about that. I mean, there was a case not so long ago here in the US of a school system getting sued because they'd supplied laptops to school kids and were using remote access programs to turn them on and watch what the kids were doing. So yeah, Kinect 2.0 is a hack away from a multi-billion-dollar civil rights lawsuit, in my opinion. Let's talk about, well, there's TV. I mean, you know, I'm buying a $300, $400, $500 box that's going to power games. I really want to see Drew Carey on there. But I mean, it's just ridiculous that, you know, it's like, oh, watch TV. Oh, and on the subject of clapping, do we need, at what are supposed to be media events, a bunch of Microsoft employees, and I'm being kind here, going, yeah, woo, you turned the Xbox on by saying Xbox on. Oh, fantastic. You snapped something. Oh, wonderful. Oh, I'm coming. Oh. For me, it's a personal issue every time I go to any media conference, because this is the problem. They don't just let the media in. They have their employees who are there to, yes, you will cheer, you will do this, or you will get beaten with a Zune. And they'll have those in, and then, of course, they'll let the fans in, the community, who really, you know, no offense, have no place at a media reveal event, press conference, whatever you want to call it. That's a major issue for me, and it was really kind of off-putting. Now let's move on to the other content that they showed. They showed the TV stuff. They showed the NFL, the 10th most popular sport in the world, by the way. Yeah, let's talk about that. $400 million for NFL-related stuff for the 10th most popular based on viewership and based on playing. 10th most popular sport in the world. Europe? Remember those guys? You know, that huge fucking continent where, guess what? People buy a lot of Xboxes and, you know, they do play the games too. Oh, it's an American-centric event, blah, blah, blah. You know what? No, if you want to go after a global worldwide audience, why on earth would you do nothing that caters to a potential audience of hundreds of millions of people? Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of people on Twitter saying it's like, yeah, well, I'm tuning in from England or France or Germany or Australia or whatever, and there's nothing for me. Because again, a lot of this content, the TV stuff, all these other things, they probably won't happen in Europe at launch. They probably won't happen for a while. Yeah, let's talk about the messaging, the post-reveal messaging. Let's talk about the cock-up that was the post-reveal, because I am an XPR guy and I tend to notice these things. And you know, if you have a reveal, if you spend couple of $1 million or more on something that's going to be a big announcement, you basically have your execs or whoever you're putting in front of the cameras and at the round tables directly after the event, because that's what Microsoft did. You have them buttoned down on every answer that they're going to give. Let's talk about Phil Harrison first. Phil Harrison was the guy who was pretty much, you know, around and heavily involved with the PlayStation 3 launch. That went well, didn't it? And then he left Sony in 2008, and since he left, Sony kind of got their act together, and the PS4 launch, or the reveal rather, was night and day better than this one in this humble person's opinion. And yet, Phil's there again. Good old Phil, wheel him out, and he talks to the press. And the first thing out of his mouth, or practically the first thing, is, yeah, if you want to get a used game, you're going to have to pay a fee to get permission to play the game. And then he goes on to say, when you buy a new game, there's a code that will give you permission to play a game. I don't like this word permission. The world is going this way right now. Digital rights, permissions and everything. You see this? This is a retail box copy of a game. It comes with a disc inside. This costs $60, 80 euros, 50 pounds, 200 goats, or whatever it, whatever it costs. All the permission I need is called plonking down my cash. I have already got permission to play the fucking thing. This is my copy. What I do with my copy is my own business. If after I've completed a game, I want to give it to somebody else, I will give it to somebody else. It's what you do. It's how grassroots opinion of a game develops. Now we know why Electronic Arts cut the online pass last week. It's like, yes, we're Electronic Arts, we've cut the online pass, and guess what? We're here at the Microsoft Xbox press conference, and you're going to pay for used games, so... Seriously, I mean, we were expecting something from EA, but obviously this level of douchebaggery is now being, added to by Microsoft. And people will say, oh, well, you can't do that with PC stuff and Steam stuff and whatever, dude, and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? If I buy something digitally, I don't expect to pass it off to somebody. But if I actually go to a store and I have a hard copy of something, I am going to give it to somebody else once I finish playing it. And then let's talk about, how do you get this permission? You enter a code. And what happens? Well, the code gets validated. How does it get validated? Because the Xbox One is online. Is it always online? No. Well, yeah. Maybe. How often does it have to be online? Well, it could be, it can't be forever offline, or otherwise you just won't be able to play any games. So, yeah, once a week, once a month, once a day. And again, these are the answers that were coming out of the likes of Phil Harrison. When your senior execs don't know what they're saying, don't give you coherent answers, you stumble further into the diuretic shitstorm that was Tuesday. What would have been better would have been to just be honest about it and say, yes, we have online, and this is why. This is what Always Online will do for you. It will update X, Y, and Z. It will help you track this. It will do that. And when you explain it like that, people are going to say, oh, okay, makes sense. When you do it half-cocked over a round table after a shit show of a reveal, well, guess what? People are going to get pissed. All right, let's talk about another quote. This one came from Don Matrick directly after the reveal when he was sitting down and being interviewed, and he was asked about backwards compatibility. Don Matrick said, if you want backwards compatibility, well, that's a bit backwards, or words to that effect. It's on Polygon, go look it up. And basically, to me, that communicated a certain level of arrogance, which permeated the entire Microsoft reveal, in my opinion, but it also showed a definite lack of understanding of where the games market is today. All right, Xbox to Xbox 360. A little bit of backwards compatibility with the first Xbox. Not too much of a deal, to be honest with you, because at that time, you know, Xbox was a new console. It sold reasonably well, but the 360 was the start of the console boom, the video game boom. Video games got inserted into the psyche of everybody. They became mainstream. And over the last 8 years, people have bought lots of games on the Xbox. People have spent thousands of dollars. People have spent tens of thousands of dollars on games. And that's just the retail ones. Let's talk about Xbox Live Arcade. Huge success. Lots of people downloading. Some games in the millions. None of this shit is going to be usable on the Xbox One. Oh, but you can keep your Xbox 360. Oh, okay, so the 1, 2, 3 plus 5 little boxes to rule them all is now another box on top of that. I mean, you're just poking holes in your own arguments, Microsoft. Well, guess what? How many games are going to be available on the Xbox One day one? I'm going to buy an Xbox One probably, and for the first 6 weeks, I'll be playing old shit on my 360. Why? Because I can't do it on an Xbox One, because there probably won't be that many games. And obviously, now let's talk about the games. Well, that was the biggest shit show of all. It basically said, yeah, we're Microsoft. We really don't give a shit about you guys anymore. You know, thanks for tuning in and thanks for all this sort of money. And yeah, we'll fob you off at E3. And you know what? I'm not going to talk about what they're going to show at E3. Why? Because I'm not a fucking Time Lord. You know, why should I even be surprised? I mean, let's face it, this is what Microsoft have been moving to and have been doing for the last 2.5 years. Ever since the end of, was it Gears 3 was released, they've not really released anything of interest to the hardcore gamer. I'm actually surprised even they just tacked Xbox onto this console brick thing that looks like, you know, it could have a family of 4 living in it. But as of right now, you only get one chance to make a first impression. Microsoft had that chance and screwed it hard and uncomfortably so. Okay, that's almost it for this week. A little bit of housekeeping. Obviously, I did also mention during the show that I said online passes and season passes and everything, and I got everything mixed up with EA last week. It was, of course, online passes that they got rid of. In addition, this is a sheet of A4 paper. This is a game by 4A Games. I got them kind of confused. I said that A4 made Metro. Well, A4 is useful, but it certainly doesn't make games. So my apologies to the guys at A4, 4A. What? Did it again. Bugger. And that's it. I've got nothing else to apologize for last week. I stand by everything I said. I really do, no matter how much you bleat and whine on NeoGAF before you eventually prove my point. And I'm not talking about the actual gaffers. I'm talking about the people who responded. They know who they are. Follow me on Twitter. Find me on Facebook. See you next week.
See all of our shows and game reviews now on the brand new GT app on Xbox Live and the GT Originals iOS app too.